From 41 NBC, this is a Decision 2014 special report.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the 41 NBC News at 11. I'm Amanda Castro.
And I'm Skylar Henry. Big news today. We're here for your Decision 2014 election coverage. Voters around Middle Georgia filled polling locations all day today.
We're going to go ahead and take it to 41 NBC's Tucker Sargent, who's live at U.S. Senate Michelle Nunn's headquarters in Atlanta.
Y'all, I met a poet in Gainesville a few months ago, and she was in her 90s, and she told me, she said, you know, I really think you're going to win this race. But she said, but if you don't win, you have done your duty. And you all have more than done your duty. The extraordinary volunteers, staff, the people across this state that have worked so hard. We have offered up Georgia a true choice, and we've laid the groundwork for this state. We have changed politics in Georgia, not just tonight, but for the future. We've reminded people of what a two-party system looks like, and a civic dialogue. We've lifted up and advocated issues that matter to people in this country, whether it's raising minimum wage, whether it's pay equity for women, whether it's bipartisan immigration reform. These are just a few of the issues that we've helped remind people are at stake, whether it's making sure that all of our young people have an affordable and clear pathway to college, or whether it's universal access to pre-K. These are issues that we have lifted up and that will continue to be lifted up. So I am very proud to have stood side by side in this campaign with thousands of Georgians who've worked so hard. Your hands, I know, some of y'all's hands may be blistered from putting in all those yard signs. And your voices may be hoarse from doing all that shouting and talking and telling people how important this race is. And I know that there's a lot of tired feet tonight because y'all have been walking a lot of neighborhoods. And you could not have worked harder. You know, we have exceeded every expectation of what was possible in this race. I just want to remind y'all that just about 15 months ago, all of the political pundits said that Georgia was not in play, and we put Georgia in play. But we've built a foundation now that needs to be cultivated, and it needs to be built upon. And we need to work on it to broaden our reach with the message. We want to remind people, y'all, that elections make a difference in people's lives. Yes. We change people's lives, we change communities, we change our nation, we change our world when we vote. And we've reminded people of that, and we want to keep reminding people of that. We make choices about how we're going to care for our sick. We make choices about how we care for our environment, how we care for our elderly. And these are the choices that we want to continue to lift up in the future as we go forward. So I hope that we've reminded Georgia also that we can and should have leadership that represents and looks like our state. You know, during the course of the campaign, I met with a wonderful group of Pakistani and Indian doctors in Warner Robins, and they told me it was the first time that anybody had reached out to them to engage them in this process. And when I left, they said, you've given us hope and you've given us inspiration. You all did that. So I started out this election saying that I'm optimistic about America, and I have never been more optimistic than I am right now today after 15 months of seeing the extraordinary idealism, commitment, and passion of Georgians. And I was reminded time and time again of our Georgia State motto. Y'all have heard me say it, right? But I have seen it embodied in our Georgia citizenry: wisdom and justice and moderation. So tonight, more than anything, I want to thank you all, to the staff and to the thousands of people who've worked so hard on this campaign, for the future of our state, for the future of our country, for your commitment and for your dedication. Each one of you here has given so much: your talents, your resources, a lot of sleepless nights, and an unrelenting commitment. So I am so grateful to have walked this path with you, to be fighting for something that transcends us all and that we'll continue to work towards. And I want to say a few thanks to only my family, because otherwise it would be out of control, the number of people that I would have to thank. But I want to thank my parents who are here. They've taught me the importance of public service, and have been my father. Every single day of the campaign trail, I hear a story of someone who he made a difference for, and he's a great exemplar of what matters in public service. And he's been a role model and a great advisor throughout my life. And my mother, whose fierce determination, whose tireless work ethic and unyielding support has sustained me throughout this race. Ron, as he said...
So as you just heard, Democrat candidate for U.S. Senate Michelle Nunn conceding to her opponent, Republican David Perdue. So big news right there, starting off the hour.
She's thanking her supporters, thanking her family. Interesting to see how this plays out now.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Alexa now.
Yeah, we're going to take it over to Alexa. She is at Perdue's headquarters in Atlanta, and I'm sure it's a much different atmosphere out there, isn't it, Alexa?
The crowd went absolutely wild just a few minutes ago when those results flashed on that screen back there that David Perdue is the next U.S. Senator. You know, a few chants broke out and even some tears, but they were definitely tears of joy. And that's really the only feeling that can be described for this room right now, is pure joy. And Sonny Perdue actually told us earlier this evening that campaigning is very long and tiresome, and he's actually amazed at how strong David has stayed throughout this entire process. Now we're all just waiting on an appearance from the next U.S. Senator, David Perdue. Back to you guys at the studio.
All right, now we got to move on to other big races that we've been following tonight, and that's the governor's race here in Georgia.
Yes, very big race. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our latest result. It looks like incumbent Republican Nathan Deal is winning with 57% of the votes. His Democratic opponent Jason Carter is pulling in 41%, with Libertarian Andrew Hunt pulling in 2% of the votes. Now, it's important to note that the polls we're still pulling in numbers, so these are not final results.
Not final numbers.
But I will say this, I'm looking at, excuse me, oh, nope, sorry. Never mind. Continuing on. I thought I had something, but I didn't.
Gotcha. All right. Moving on to Lieutenant Governor. We've got Casey Cagle. He's the incumbent. He's at 62% right now, going up against Democrat Connie Stokes. She's at 38% with 53. Excuse me, Tracy, can you say that again?
Okay. We're actually going to take it out to Nathan Deal's headquarters up in Atlanta. He's taking the podium right now. We're going to take it out to him.
Begin to single out anybody, but there are several who played major roles as a part of our staff. First of all, of course, Chris Riley, my longtime right-hand man. Tom Willis, a young man who took on the job as campaign manager. Brian Robinson, my spokesperson, who was always there. And Denise Deal, who helped us raise the money necessary to conduct this campaign. I promise you tonight, as I promised you during the election, we will continue to make Georgia the best place in the country for every possible thing you can imagine: jobs, environment, family life, best place to live. We have it all going for us, and we're going to keep it moving in that direction. There are so many young people who have been an important part of our team, and they have worked tirelessly. And you know, we don't pay them very much. We really don't. But they work for the love of it, and I appreciate the fact that they have loved me, and they've loved Sandra, and they've loved all of us. Part of our team, though, that I haven't singled out is certainly the part that makes it most special to me, and that is my family. My children, and of course my wife and my grandchildren. You know, campaigns are hard on families because things are said, ads are run, people make comments, And even though in your own heart you know they're not true, they still hurt. And it takes a tough skin on the part of not only candidates, but of their spouses and of their family members. So please thank my family members for their support.
And as you just heard from Governor Nathan Deal, NBC News is projecting that he will win the governor's race against his opponent, Democrat Jason Carter.
Big news there as well.
We're going to go ahead and take a look now at some of our top local races.
That's right. 41 NBC's Kenley Hargett joins us in studio with more on tonight's latest election results. Kenley.
The votes are still coming in, but so far it's still pretty close for some races. Let's start in Houston County. In Houston County, you can see right now Robert Jones ahead of Mia Geiger, 55% to 45%, with 100% reporting. Robert, congratulations. Next, we have in the Perry City Council's District 2, Larry Cooley tied with Sterling Braswell, 50 to 50. We wonder how that's going to go. Next, we have the one and only Peach County, B.J. Walker, 59%, and Robert Butch Hammock, 41%. With only 100% of the reporting votes coming in. Now we have Peach County's Board of Education. Ben Hoots, 54%, while Donald Williams, 46%. Next, we have the Peach County's Board of Education Post 5 at-large seat going to. Now we have the Peach County with, and now back to Amanda and Schuyler.
All right, thank you, Kenley.
All right, moving forward, looking at other races for our U.S. representative seats now. Moving forward, this is the District 2 seat. Sanford Bishop is up 58% to Gregory Duke's 42%. There's 49% of precincts reporting in this race right now, but NBC News is projecting that Sanford Bishop will win this race. He is the Democratic incumbent who took office in 1993, serving his 11th term.
And we also spoke to Congressman Bishop this evening to get some reaction, and we'll hear from him right now. All right, we're going to try and get that to you maybe a little later tonight. We're going to go ahead and continue looking at our U.S. representatives. We're going to take it out to Purdue now, the projected winner of the U.S. Senate race.
All right, tonight was the last night that the American people had an opportunity to send a strong message to the president. And the president, he put it out there. He said, my policies will be on the ballot. Well, the American people spoke. Georgia spoke. And do you think the president heard it tonight? Well, I want to thank you so much for all you've done for this campaign. And next, I have the opportunity to introduce to you a great statesman, one who may have the second largest smile on his face tonight. He's been plowing the ground for a long time, one who I've looked up to. He's been a great mentor to me. And in fact, in 2002, when I first ran for office, he invited me to be on his bus tour, going from Dalton to Calhoun. Scared me to death to come off that bus and speak to a crowd there at the Calhoun Courthouse, at the Gordon County Courthouse in Calhoun. But it was Saxby Chambliss who encouraged me, who pressed me on to victory that year, the first Republican to be elected to state representative in Gordon County, along with Saxby Chambliss being elected, beating Max Cleland, you might remember, in 2002. It is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight our senior senator, a great man, and his wonderful wife, Julianne Saxby Chambliss.
Thank you. Hey, guess what? No fundraisers when you leave here tonight. What a great night tonight. Look, the wind has obviously been at Republicans' back all across the country as I have traveled around this great country of ours over the last several weeks and months. It's been obvious to me that people wanted a change. People wanted some folks to come to Washington with fresh ideas and look Obama in the eye and say, Mr. President, you're taking us down the wrong road and we're going to change that. Well, let me say that during my 20 years, Julianne and I have been so blessed to represent 10 million of the greatest people that the Lord ever put on this earth. Thank you, Georgia, for being kind to us. But during that 20 years, I've served in the minority and I've served in the majority. Majority is a hell of a lot more fun. And guess what Georgia has led the nation in doing tonight? Making sure that Republicans take control of the Senate. And we're going to tell Mr. Obama we're tired of this. We are ready for hope and change. We're ready for real hope and change. And let me tell you, as I've been around the state with and even without David, when we've been in places where we're campaigning for him, I was so proud to say that I was representing David Perdue and I was campaigning with David Perdue. He and Bonnie believe in the things that make Georgia and the United States of America the great place in which it is to live. And it's been a privilege to see him mature politically, to come out of the private sector and to rise to the top just as he did in the private sector in the political world. And it's been a privilege to see him develop and espouse the ideas that Georgians believe in from the standpoint of being true conservatives. So I am very proud tonight to introduce to you the guy who is not only going to replace me, he's going to exceed me, the next senator from the great state of Georgia, the Honorable David Perdue.
Wow. Thank you, Georgia. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a wild ride for 18 months, hasn't it? You know, over the last 18 months, Bonnie and I have been so blessed to travel all over this great state. You know, talking to hardworking Georgians and listening to your concerns. And the one thing that I take away from all of this is that you want to change the direction of our country. Yes. I think Georgians made it loud and clear tonight that we want to stop the failed policies of this administration and Harry Reid. Georgians want a safer America. They want a stronger America. They want a more secure America. Whether it's a stronger foreign policy, dealing with threats like ISIS and Ebola, fixing the VA, securing our border, and really doing something finally about this debt for our kids and grandkids. And we finally want to start working on a bipartisan approach, not a partisan approach, to health care. Georgians want term limits. I heard that over and over in this state. We believe it's time to put citizen legislators up there, people who are from us, among us, and go up there and do our bidding and try to fix the problems of the day and then come home and let somebody else go try to help. That's what we're doing. Bonnie and I never thought about doing this. You know that. Sometimes I wonder. Georgians want somebody to fight for them, though. I heard that loud and clear in this state, and Bonnie and I are committed to go to Washington and fight for you, and not the special interests and not the insiders in Washington, but you, the Georgians that we love. Thank you. You know, we heard loud and clear Georgians want us to fight for their constitutional rights. They want us to fight for the right to life, the value of life. A senator who won't bend to special interests, but listen to the people here at home and act accordingly and bring a sense of urgency to Washington. The thing we heard more than anything else is that Washington's broken and it's affecting our lives. And we don't want to leave this world to our kids without trying to make it better. Most importantly, Georgians want good-paying jobs. And to do that, we've got to get this economy going. We have to finally resolve our tax problems. And right now, Saxby Chamos is handing the baton over to me, and I'm going to fight for the fair tax. You know, I never imagined that, that Bonnie and I would be standing here. We're the most unlikely people to be doing this. But we felt led that this was something we could do to make a difference. But tonight we start a new journey. This has been an extraordinary 18 months. When I called my cousin, the ex-governor, and said, you know, you need to run, he said, no, I've been paroled. But he said, you need to think about it. And we thought about it, prayed about it, and we started a journey with your help and some great, great professional help here. And we took our message around the state, and it resonated, and it worked because it was sincere. It was from our heart. More importantly, it was from your heart. And that's what people of this country and this state, that's what they're hearing tonight. But I want to remind you, tonight we start a new journey to set a new course for America, not just Georgia. This race was always bigger than me. It was always bigger than Georgia. We have to do this for our kids and grandkids. I do not want to be a member of the first generation in the history of our great country that has to tell my kids and my grandkids that I'm leaving you a world worse off. And you know what? Starting tonight, we're going to change that with your help. Thank you. Tomorrow morning, my commitment to you, at about 5 o'clock, I understand my first day starts as a senator-elect, and I'm very proud to be up tomorrow morning. I'm going to roll my sleeves up and get to work like I've done all my life. My entire career, that's all I've ever done. We've always worked as an underdog, just like in this campaign. But I need each of you to help me do it. Just because we had an election. There you go, Joni.
You just saw that right there. Republicans have gained control of the Senate, according to that video graphic right there. Right.
This pretty big evening. You just heard, we heard from Republican Senate-elect David Perdue now. Michelle Nunn, the Democrat candidate in that race, conceded tonight. You know, some pretty interesting things we're going to you know, he was saying he's going to get started right away. He's going to set America on a right track. Perdue saying he's going to do that, and Michelle Nunn obviously wishing her best for Perdue. Yeah, interesting stuff here. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more from tonight's election. Welcome back to our Decision 2014 coverage. We're joined now by political analyst Tom Ellington. Ellington is a political science professor at Wesleyan College and a former Macon City Councilman. He's here to talk about the state's biggest races tonight. Tom, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Big news, just starting off the top of the hour, we now have our Senate-elect David Perdue, so Nunn conceding tonight, Republicans taking control of the Senate. Correct. Talk about just a little bit about
two big pieces of news recently. I mean, we have the Senate race decided and the governor's race decided, and no runoff in either one. So that Senate race is big because it pretty well closes the door on any chance of the Democrats maintaining control of the Senate. There are still 6 races outstanding to be called. Democrats would have to run the table in all of them to get a 50-50 split and a tie to be broken by the vice president, and that seems very, very unlikely. If it were to happen, we're not going to find out tonight because Louisiana almost certainly will go to a runoff.
One of the things you mentioned before we were talking, it usually happens in a midterm election. It sways against the president's party, correct?
Sure. That happens more consistently in the House than the Senate, but generally in midterm elections you can count on the president's party having a rough night. And so the question is usually how rough. On the House side, I don't think anybody seriously thought that the Democrats would flip control of the House. There have only been 2 cases since 1934 where the president's party actually gained seats in a midterm election. but on the Senate side, there was some thought that Democrats might be able to maintain control. Right now, it's looking like it's probably going to be 52, 53 Republicans.
And we have a few seconds left. Talk about the importance of the governor race with Nathan Deal keeping his spot.
Well, this is basically a status quo election. Republicans have held statewide constitutional offices. They maintain that control, it looks like, and they're certainly going to return to the General Assembly with majorities in both houses.
All right, that's going to do it for us real quick. Mr. Ellington, thank you so much for coming on with us. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's take a quick break from election coverage to give you your weather forecast. We end the day on a chilly note in the upper 40s and low 50s. Still about 12 degrees warmer compared to yesterday at this time. Big difference there. Still chilly and no rainfall as high pressure is built into the southeast, but we do have a front to the northwest which is expected to move into the area tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, however, 45 degrees, but this starts to move in. We'll start to see some rainfall in the southeast around Thursday from this front. It looks like a lot of it will break up before it gets here, but we still could get some showers. Doesn't look like we'll get much in terms of thunderstorms. 5-star automotive 7-day forecast gives us a slight chance of rainfall Wednesday and into Thursday, and then a wonderful cool down for us Friday. More cool weather on the way into Veterans Day. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Let's go ahead and take it out to 41NBC's Alexa Rodriguez. She's live in Atlanta from David Perdue's headquarters.
David Perdue just addressed the crowd for the first time as the newest U.S. Senator, and the crowd went absolutely wild. They even began chanting his name, and the first word out of his mouth was wow, and he described it perfectly. That's exactly the feeling in this room. It is just pure joy. Everyone is ecstatic that Perdue is the next U.S. Senator. He says that the one thing he learned from campaigning and talking to people out and about is that they want to see a change in Washington. He plans to do that. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. What a wild ride tonight.
Very crazy night. And there was a lot of results and a lot of races that we weren't able to cover due to these big races and big breaking news with the speeches and stuff. So we want to let you all know that you can get results from all the state and local races on our website at 41NBC.com.
Thank you all so much. Marco, let's get a forecast, or check if your forecast for tomorrow. What's it looking like?
We'll be waking up to mid-40s, but tomorrow afternoon looks wonderful in the mid-70s. Going into Thursday, 73, 30% chance for rain. And then Friday through Tuesday, we'll see some cooler temperatures in the 60s. That's going to be a wonderful cool down for us. Veterans Day so far looks fantastic. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Back to you, Amanda and Skylar.
Thank you, Marco. Again, check out all your latest election results online at our website, 41NBC.com.
Thank you for watching the Decision 2014 coverage. We're going to get into the Tonight Show that's in progress right now. We'll see you back here on Daybreak that starts at 5 a.m.
Have a good night, everyone.
For complete election results, visit 41NBC.com.